Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of Mastering Astral Projection, your map to running RPGs online. And yes, I'm going to make that joke every single time because I'm not creative enough to come up with a new joke. So, today, we are going to be discussing the next aspect of running an online game, which is basically what happens when the world starts interrupting, the real world starts interrupting your online game. If anyone is wondering what this series is, maybe this is your first episode seeing it. In a D&D style like fantasy world, if we were to try and do something like talk to people remotely, you would use a spell similar to the astral projection spell, where you would take your consciousness and transmit it to where your physical body was here, but people far away could see it. So mastering astral projection is really just me talking about how to run games online. Because I've noticed a lot of people get really worried about running games online. They feel like it's never going to be the same as running it at a table. I've seen a lot of people that think of it kind of as a lesser of a version of did a D&D or any RPG you're playing, and it's not true. You just have to focus on different things in order to get kind of that same feeling of closeness. So again, what we're talking about today is interruptions. Interruptions happen. A lot of for people that have never actually played in a game store, you may not realize just how often interruptions happen in just regular everyday games. Even if you are playing in a private residence, interruptions happen. However, in an online session, people make a really big deal about interruptions simply because there are more things that can interrupt when everyone is in their own location with their own lives surrounding them while they're trying to live in this world. And so, because of that, interruptions become this really big deal with a lot of people that run online games. I've seen some people that will flat out forbid them. They will, make rules and things like that, like you're not allowed to have your phone near you. Interruptions can get you warnings or get you kicked out of the game. It's not a good idea. I've seen similar things done at physical tables as well, where they'll say no, no having your phone or no making calls or anything like that. And for the most part, it's just not a good idea to do that for a number of reasons. Probably the biggest of which is things are going to happen that no one has control over. If you've got a player that has a family, kids are notorious for going places they're not supposed to go. Kids are going to wander into the game every so often. If you sit here and you forbid it, you make this really massive deal. Anytime someone has one of their kids could come in, or maybe a spouse comes in and needs some help taking care of the child, as they should do. That's part of being a family. What that's going to do to the players is give them something to worry about instead of the game. Because what happens is when all they're focusing on is the game, they won't notice people coming in until there's an actual interruption. If, however, that interruption could cost them their spot at the table, or it's going to get them even something simple like people are going to tease them or make fun of them, they're going to be watching and listening for anything that could hint that an interruption is about to happen, and try and stop it before it starts. From the DM's perspective, it may feel better for you, because they will prevent you from getting interrupted. And generally, they will take care of things when they're not in the middle of speaking or something like that. So it will feel smoother if everyone is hyper aware of the what might cause an interruption, and is constantly working to make sure that they don't happen. However, again, the whole purpose of everything we to talk about in this as a series is we want people to get out of this world and into this world. The world that you all are creating together. And everything you do that forces them to acknowledge and worry about the things out here while you're worrying about the world you're creating is going to take them out of it. It soon becomes a hassle, because normally if they were playing at your house, they could just focus on their characters. Now they have to worry about, are the kids going to sleep? Is my husband or my wife going to come in because this is something? Are there noises around me that I don't have control over? Maybe you run a game during the day, and so every so often you have to deal with a lawnmower or something like that. All of these things are going to interrupt the game. And if the players have to focus on that and worry that it's going to cause the DM to get angry, it's going to cause them to get singled out, they're not going to be fully invested in the game. They're going to be fully invested in whatever keeps them from getting singled out and chastised. So what you need to do when you're running an online game is accept the fact that interruptions happen, and interruptions are completely okay. There's nothing wrong with interruptions. One of the most common interruptions that I see all the time, and it will very much be dependent on things that a lot of people can't control, like the quality of their internet connection, is someone will drop, or their picture will, or their feed will freeze, and you will just get dead air from them for anywhere from maybe a couple seconds to a couple minutes. They may drop for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It all depends on what's going on. If they're afraid that something completely outside of their control is going to cost them their character, because perhaps they're in the middle of their turn, it dropped, so you just decided that they took no action and moved on to the next turn, and they get attacked and killed by a creature before they can do anything. That's going to upset the player, first of all. And it's going to make them hyper aware of things like their connection. I have had players that have wanted to drop campaigns completely because they couldn't get a solid connection, and they didn't want to lose their character over it, or they didn't want to put other people out. Again, people can feel very, very guilty if their particular interruption has caused the game to stop. Because again, once the game stops, everyone is back into this world, not into this world. And it can be really hard to get everyone back together again. So people are going to feel very, very self-conscious about any sort of interruptions. Anytime I have a situation where players like, hey, my power is doing weird stuff, or hey, my, I've got my kids tonight, and they took a really, really late nap, so they're wide awake right now. They may interrupt me. I'm really sorry. My response is always going to be, it's perfectly okay. If you are not actively participating in whatever is going on, go ahead and just do whatever you need to do to take care of it, and come back as soon as you are able. Don't feel bad. We're not going to forget your character. We're not going to throw them away. Whatever needs to be done with your character that happens while you're away, as soon as you get back, we'll just go, hey, by the way, this is what happened. We need to know what you're going to do in this situation. If it's in the middle of combat and for whatever reason you can't take your turn, or in the middle of your turn you have to leave, what I will do is go, okay, I normally will give, 20 seconds to a minute to see if it will resolve itself. And if it doesn't, we just go to the next person. And then as soon as that person comes back, their turn comes immediately. If it causes issues with logistics and like, well, I was going to do this, we can discuss that later. I can tell you from experience, I have had a lot of people drop out of calls in the middle of their turn, and I think there's been one instance in 7 some odd years where they've where we've had to do some slight retconning when they came back, because they go, oh, I was going to do this. If you try and plan for every single horrible eventuality that might happen, you can come up with a lot of reasons why letting someone just do their turn later is a bad idea, or maybe giving them 2 turns, one right after and then another, if they're gone for more than a round. You can sit there and go, well, that's not going to work, and this is going to cause issues, and blah, blah, blah. No. Again, in the multitude of the times I've had issues, there's only really been like 1, maybe like 2 or 3, if I think really, really hard, where we've had to retcon anything. And it's really, really simple to do. Focusing on this idea of, no, we can't have interruptions. Interruptions. No. Accept it, welcome them, encourage the players to do what is necessary, and then could come back. If they can get fully invested in the game and then get interrupted and not have to worry about, oh, shoot, now I'm doing this, and not have to have all that panic, they can just go, oh, guys, I will be right back. And everyone is accepting of it. You're going to have a much better time. And like I said, the easiest way to deal with these interruptions is simply to go, okay, do what you need to do. Take care of it. We don't want you, going, every 2.5 minutes to go fix it again and again. Take the time to take care of it. As soon as you could come back, we'll just say, hey, this is what happened. Did you want to do anything about that? And then move on with this as a story. And like I said, if you were in combat, the absolute easiest thing you can do is just go, okay, whose turn is next? Who's next in an initiative, or whatever you use to do it? If you use something like popcorn in an initiative where they're supposed to tell the next person, just take it on yourself. Okay, they can't do anything, so you are next. And then as soon as they come back, finish whoever's turn it is when they could come back, and then go, whoop, okay, you're back. This is what's happened. What do you want to do? Again, I see so many people worried about this, because when you do think about it, and when it's handled poorly, this is something that can kill your online game. Interruptions can really, really cause issues. But if everyone is just accepting of them and going, you know what, life exists. We cannot control everything. And when we're playing the game, we're going to be focused on it. And when we have to not be focused on it, we can do other things. It may feel weird at first going to another person's turn, but most interruptions can be solved in 5 to 10 minutes tops, which in game time is nothing. That's a single role-playing conversation. That's not even a full role-playing conversation. Most characters' turns will take anywhere between about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how complex they want to get. So at most, you're shifting someone maybe 1 or 2 points in initiative for a single turn. And then everything goes back to normal. Now, there is another side that I tend to not emphasize quite as much, because this is what everyone thinks it's going to be, which is there can be people that will take advantage of the leniency, and they won't be fully invested in the game, or they will be constantly breaking off and, oh, I have to do my phone, or they'll have, you're all on computers, they'll have another screen open, and they'll be playing a game or something like that when it comes to them. Oh, what do we do? That is a completely separate issue. And for the most part, if you do the stuff that we've talked about already and that we're going to continue talking about, where you give people a large incentive to be invested in the world you're creating, you call them by their player name. You give them that nice countdown that lets them know, okay, now we're playing, and now we're not. And you let them express themselves and enjoy themselves both in the game and outside of the game with all the other players. You're not really going to find that many people that will take advantage of the leniency of, hey, we're not going to make a big deal about interruptions. To the point where once I generally get that idea instilled in all my players, I don't really have issues with people not paying attention. There are other ways than barking rules at them or making kind of decrees and things like that you must pay attention, or offering punishments if you're not paying attention. Those are all really, really bad habits to get into, because it turns your players into just focusing on what's happening into their characters to focusing on, okay, what can get me punished? I don't want to be punished. And punishment can be anything from, negative modifiers to attack rolls, losing their terms, all the way up to other things you wouldn't even think of, like being teased when they get back, or even just singling them out and going, so, your kid's going to show up again? Maybe they should roll a character. All those things can be taken very negatively. And because you're looking at a picture of them, if they have a video chat, or if it's all audio, you're only hearing their voice, it is significantly easier to hide discomfort through a camera or through just your voice than it is if you were at the table. So there's a very good chance as the DM, you're going to miss if you start making your players uncomfortable with just teasing and things like that, unless you are really, really good at reading people. Yes, to kind of sum up everything, interruptions happen. They're not bad. They're not good. They just happen. The more you put emphasis on them by either being upset when they happen, or bringing them to attention whenever an interruption happens, the worse they're going to affect your campaign and your players. The absolute best thing to do is let everybody know, hey, if something happens, deal with it. We're not going to penalize you if you have to step away or for whatever reason, or you to drop or anything. We will just go to the next person's turn, or we will continue with this as a story. And as soon as you get back, we'll fill you on what happened. You can react however you want to react, and we'll go. If it's during combat, it's the middle of your turn, or your turn comes up while you're gone, we will just go to the next person. And as soon as you could come in, whoever's taking their turn will finish their turn, and then you get yours, and then everything goes back to normal. The more you make it seem like it's a bad thing, the worse it's going to become. The more you make it seem like this is a completely natural aspect of playing role-playing games in general, the easier it's going to be for everyone. So please understand, interruptions happen. They're fine. They're not going to ruin your game unless you make them ruin it. That is going to be all for me today. As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit the like button. It lets me know that you like this. It lets Google know you like this, and YouTube know you like this. And if enough people tell them that you like it, they may let other people see it. In addition, hit the subscribe button because of Tasha's Culture to Everything coming out recently. I have stepped up my content schedule. This is actually, if you're watching this is actually the 4th video I've put out this week. So yeah, hit this subscribe button so you don't miss any of them, and hit the notification bell just in case I do upload something at a weird hour, because my mental health sometimes causes me to not be productive when I would like to be, and to be extremely productive when I don't want to be. So yeah, hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. In the comments down below, what is your most memorable interruption that has ever happened in a game? And I'm not just talking online. Like I said, I used to run at conventions. I used to run in friendly local game stores, and I ran a home game for a while as well. Every single one had interruptions. It's completely normal, and I love to hear stories about just weird stuff that happens. So in the comments below, let me know your most memorable. It doesn't have to be positive. It doesn't have to be negative. Whatever one pops into your head. Anyway, again, that is all for me, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye!